Small, Public Affairs and Communications Manager for the Lynnwood Police Department, and this is your LPD Video Week in Review. It's Friday, March 18th, and here's a summary of some of the most notable incidents your Lynnwood police officers responded to over this past week or so. On March 6th, officers were called to Fred Meyer for reports that a man stealing merchandise had just threatened to shoot employees. When we arrived, we learned the suspect had pulled a gun out and set it on the shopping cart seat as an employee was attempting to get him to leave the store. The suspect turned around at the store exit and he put the gun away but made a shooting motion towards the employee. We found the suspect nearby and he refused to stop walking or respond to police commands. Eventually, officers took him into custody and recovered the weapon, which turned out to be a BB gun, but store employees had been understandably terrified, believing it had been a real gun. He had 2 warrants for theft out of Lynnwood and was attempting to steal approximately $1,000 worth of merchandise in this Fred Meyer incident. He is now facing charges for harassment, threats to kill, attempted theft, and obstructing law enforcement. On March 6th, the Lynnwood police officer stopped a vehicle for a traffic violation, as well as not having a license plate displayed, and discovered the passenger, who was the registered owner, had several warrants for his arrest, including one for not having an ignition interlock device on his vehicle. When the officer attempted to arrest him, he immediately hid something inside his pants, but denied having any drugs on his person. He was transported to the Snohomish County Jail to be booked on the warrant and was searched. During the search, a glass bottle containing 91 blue fentanyl pills fell out of his pants. Based on his knowingly smuggling an illicit dealer quantity of a highly dangerous controlled substance into the jail, he is now also facing charges for introducing contraband. On March 9th, officers were called to Lowe's to take a report of a serial theft suspect who is also likely wanted for thefts at the Mill Creek location. Store employees provided surveillance footage of the same woman in the Lynnwood store on 4 separate occasions, moving directly to the tools section each time, choosing items, and then leaving without paying for them. In total, she has stolen about $1,000 in merchandise just from the Lynnwood Lowe's. If you believe you know who this woman is, contact the email address that's listed there on your screen. She likely drives an older model black Honda Accord. On March 10th, we were called to the Hampton Inn for reports that a white van associated with an attempted vehicle break-in the previous evening had been circling the parking lot for an hour. We found the van parked and the ignition punched, with the ignition actually sitting on the driver's seat next to a screwdriver. During an area check, officers found a man hiding in the woods near the van. He originally told officers he wasn't hiding, but going to the bathroom. A check of his name revealed he had a theft warrant out of Renton. He eventually admitted he and a friend had been driving the van. The friend was also found nearby and he too had a theft warrant. He admitted he had stolen the van when he discovered it left running. We contacted the registered owner of the vehicle, who had been unaware it was stolen earlier in the day. Burglary or lock-picking tools were also discovered on one of the suspects, as well as numerous credit cards and driver's licenses in other people's names. On March 12th, officers were called to Unia Plaza on Highway 99 for reports of a car prowl in which approximately $5,000 worth of ski gear and other items were taken through a shattered back windshield. While talking to the victim of the break-in, another car owner flagged our officer down to report her passenger side window had been smashed and about $3,000 worth of tools and other items had been stolen. We cannot say it enough, never leave valuables in your car unattended. Do you recognize this person or this vehicle? Yesterday, this driver eluded one of our officers who was attempting to contact him in connection to recent thefts at Ulta. If you believe you know who he is or you've seen this car, reach out to the email address that's listed on your screen. In the early morning hours of March 16th, officers responded to Swedish Edmonds for reports that a man had been shot in the shoulder and driven himself to the hospital. He is okay, but told our detectives that he was randomly shot when he stopped outside the Kibo Car Wash on 168th Street near Highway 99 while driving for DoorDash because he believed he knew 2 people standing on the sidewalk. He said it turns out he actually didn't know the people, but the conversation became aggressive and he left. He says after doing a U-turn and heading back towards the suspects, one fired a single gunshot through his windshield and the bullet became lodged in his back. We are still investigating, but if you were a witness to this crime, please reach out to the email address that's listed on your screen. And finally, you likely saw this post on our social media accounts yesterday, but here's a quick update. Detectives are investigating a burglary gone bad from Thursday night in which 2 suspects, who we believe were not expecting to find the homeowners there, broke into a Lynnwood home in the 16800 block of 55th Place West. 2 people were inside and they threatened to kill them and then tied them up while they stole cash, jewelry, and electronics. Their faces were covered with ski masks and they were wearing gloves. We've had other recent home burglaries in which the houses were unoccupied at the time, but similar items were taken after similar entry through a shattered back door or window was made. If you believe you have information or surveillance footage that shows an unfamiliar dark-colored sedan at the 9:30 to 10 p.m. hour March 16th in the area of this crime, please reach out to the email address that's on your screen. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.